All right, so I'm going to the Marvel website itself. It's in other places too, and I know I haven't been making a lot of videos, but this is something I think I need to talk about. So I seen this the other day and I was like, oh, I wonder what this midnight thing is. I'm thinking maybe something with Midnight Suns. I know they said it was going to be darker. I was like, maybe it's going to be a dark part of the universe where they make an initiative to, promote the characters like Ghost Rider, Blade, Elsa Bloodstone, um, you know, um, Kid Kaiju, and, different characters that could be in their darker places. Kid Kaiju could be a dark character if they worked it right. Like, there's a lot of places you could take. And I get annoyed that Marvel introduces characters and then drop them off because Kid Kaiju idea was awesome and it's dumb. And if I ever wrote for Marvel, I'd probably make a team of some of the more obscure characters that should be getting shine, like Reptile and stuff, and actually putting them back where they belong, along with Nole. And I would even do that team with Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. And just make a whole unique kind of good team. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, because those characters deserve love. There's a few others I put on there too. But if you ever want to hear more about that idea, just let me know. Anyway, so it says the Midnight Universe plunges the Marvel mythos into darkness. Marvel Comics presents a terrifying new publishing line from a superstar lineup of creators, kicking off in August with Midnight X-Men by Jonathan Hickman and Matteo Della Fonte. Now, right off the bat, here's one of the big issues Marvel's definitely had. DC's had as well, but Marvel's definitely had. They keep getting... I'm not saying this to be insulting because some of these people do need to cut their teeth on some things, but they'll start you off with something hyped up with a good, with a really good popular writer, a really good thing. And then they just switch them out. They switch out the artist consistently. They eventually sometimes even switch out the writers. And it's like, what are you doing? This is why I bought the book. It's to get you in just to let you fall. Now, I'm going to keep reading this and I'll give my thoughts. Okay. It says the light had its turn. That's their big tagline. For 80 years, Marvel heroes have inspired hope. This August, that hope dies in the shadows of the Midnight Universe. The hope and the truth sounds a lot like the Absolute Universe with Darkseid when Darkseid specifically said he's getting rid of hope, but okay. A new publishing line where top creators unleash haunting new visions of Marvel's greatest icons. The nightmare begins with 3 titles. Midnight X-Men, Jonathan Hickman, and Matteo Della Fonte, Nova Centurion. I actually really liked his art on Nova Centurion. I still think it's weird that they're saying Richard Rider is the only Nova left when Sam Alexander's there. That one's still confusing the hell out of me. I'm like, why aren't you guys having him team up with Sam? Sam's still around. He's part of the Black Ops, but okay. Sure. I guess F lore. Anyway, then you have Midnight Fantastic Four with Benjamin Percy, who's currently writing Punisher, and Kev Walker, Infernal Hulk, and Midnight Spider-Man by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Infernal Hulk, and in his exciting Marvel Comics debut, artist C. Trunk. All right. Well, it says, dark, unpredictable, unmissable. The Midnight Universe draws in longtime fans and newcomers alike to enter a terrifying new world where anything can happen. Also sounds like the Absolute Universe. Interconnected by rich lore building, Marvel's most definitive modern creators are given free reign to reimagine heroes with shocking twists and chilling transformations and boundaryless, creator-driven storytelling that will keep readers on edge issue after issue. Sounds like the Absolute Universe. The X-Men no longer fight for acceptance. They hunger for blood. The Fantastic Four venture into the unknown not to save the world, but to unleash terror upon it. And Spider-Man discovers that with great power comes something monstrous. And they got their thing with the midnight with the little clock. X-Men, Jonathan Hickman and Matteo Della Fonte. Fantastic Four, Benjamin Percy. Okay, so X-Men with Hickman starting in August. Fantastic Four, Benjamin Percy and Kev Walker starts in September, and October is Spider-Man. The light had its turn. And it says from the original New Universe, which if you don't know the New Universe, that's where Star Brand comes from. Marvel had that kind of running for a while. They even moved some of the characters over to the main universe. The New Universe, one of the biggest things, I think the biggest thing came out of it, because it was like the White event, was Star Brand. And two Ultimate Universes. Marvel has a long history of creating and inspiring bold worlds filled with unforgettable characters and fresh ideas that feel new yet recognizable at the same time. Editor-in-Chief C.B. Cebulski explained, with the new Midnight line, we've given some of our most outstanding creators the opportunity to delve into the darkest corners of their imaginations and birth some of the creepiest, most terrifying takes on the Marvel Universe you've ever seen. More will be unveiled in the months ahead, but today the main cover to Midnight X-Men by Dyke Uran is revealed. Briefing the lines mysterious, ominous are the main covers of the Midnight titles will be cloaked covers, partially obscured with the full artwork revealed with the turn of the page. With the exception of the debut issue, the full artwork will remain shrouded in shadow, only revealing themselves to the reader daring enough to pick up the stands. All right. So you can get a look. This is Midnight X-Men. I bet you it's vampires. Let's see, does this work? How the hell? Oh, you slide it. Vampires. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this one says, written by Jonathan. Oh, yeah, we already read that part. The clock strikes midnight, and it's the dark dawn of a new era. Beginning with Midnight X-Men, the shadows of New York City are stalked by vampires and mutant empires. They keep doing this thing now, too, where they spell empires with a Y. I don't know why they keep doing that. It reminds me of the space one, but mutant empire. Okay. The sword of Damocles hangs over the peace between these two species and factions within them. An outright war is brewing, and Unturned will be caught in the crossfire. On returning to the X-Men to deliver another visionary reinvention of mutant kind, Hickman said, "I'm so enthusiastic about this project. It's the most excited I've been in years." Didn't he say that about Ultimate Universe? Or was it Gods? He said that recently about something. Oh, anyway, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. And also, too, is that why you keep leaving projects? Let's see if he actually stays on this project. Because that's another thing about Hickman. Look, I can say what I can say. I actually got Gods, okay? I bought Gods, and I actually thought it wasn't that bad. My problem with Hickman, though, is like he keeps starting up stuff like he did with X-Men, and he kind of just drops off every time. So, we'll see how this one works. Maybe just him writing it by himself, not trying to create a whole X-Men line. Maybe that'll be better. I don't know. But anyway, excuse me. I'm returning to X-Men Deliver. I'm so excited. Oh, he says the conceit of Midnight X-Men aligns perfectly with the kind of stories I like to tell. Okay. It has rich, open-ended mythology that equally mixes old and new ideas into something that feels both familiar and original. Midnight Fantastic Four, #1. That will be in September. Then, in Midnight Fantastic Four, an obsessive scientist delves into the secrets of the universe, perhaps best left unknown to mankind, leaving himself and 3 others warped in strange and horrifying ways. Will horrible secrets lie in the new dimensions they have discovered? And can humanity survive the discovery? On getting the chance to explore his darkest impulses, Percy explained, "If you read my work, you know that I see the world through a dark, disturbed lens. To me, it's always midnight," Percy explained. "When Hickman called me, it was from a landline in the basement of an abandoned house with the wires cut." What? "Blood poured from the receiver into my ear. I said yes." I guess that's a Freddy Krueger reference. All right. Witty. Sure. "When I imagined this other version of Marvel, a terrifying poisoned universe, my mind immediately went to the Fantastic Four. This is a title I've always loved, but would never be allowed to write otherwise. Now I could lean into my worst instincts and reimagine their story as one cosmic, Lovecraftian dread. I'm joined by the visionary Kev Walker, who is hard at work bringing a new origin story for Marvel's first family to screaming life. I can't wait to share our nightmares with you." Then you have Midnight Spider-Man. And in Midnight Spider-Man, that's in October, a young Peter Parker is transformed into a hideous spider hybrid with ruthless Oscorp in their pursuit of eternal life. Well, if this is in the same universe and you have vampires, don't you just make them into vampires? Are they connected? If this is one connected universe, that's weird. Because you just established with X-Men you have vampires. Oh, okay, but I'll get to my thoughts in a second. I'm literally kind of multi discovering this as I'm reading it to you. Um, Besides a little bit I already knew. When Oscorp begins to use the secrets unlocked by his mutation to create more human animal hybrids, okay, Peter embraces his grotesque new form to stop them. The work we're doing right now on the Midnight Line feels like history being made. Sure. John shared, this is quotes from him. We're all bringing creator-owned sensibilities to our projects. That's not usually good because Marvel will tell you that they own your ass. But we're redefining boundaries. We're reinventing these timeless characters in a way that's never been done. I wouldn't say that. Midnight is nothing like the main line, nothing like the Ultimate line. Sure about that? You sure about that, Chief? I got some things. I'll get to that in a second. You will see things in these books that will shock you. You don't take on a job like reinventing Spider-Man to go halfway, he continued. I'm leaving it all in the ring with Midnight Spider-Man, and I know Jonathan and Ben are too. Pre-order Midnight #1 at your local shop. Okay. Now that I got through that, I have some thoughts. First off, you guys, they're talking like they're like, yeah, I picked that book. No, you didn't. It's the same with it's the same with the Absolute line. You start with the Trinity. Batman's DC's most popular character. So you're going to start with Batman. Then you're going to do Superman. Then you're going to do Wonder Woman. Because if you're going to start a line, it makes sense to do that. Even if you have other characters that could be possibly more popular, you start with them. And then when it comes to Marvel, outside of a character like Hulk or very runoffs, their most popular titles is X-Men, Spider-Man, and Fantastic Four, typically. That's usually their breads and butter. That's the things that establish them, like I said, like with Hulk and the Avengers, but the things that put them on the map, Marvel's for family, the Fantastic Four, X-Men for what they did for cultural things, and Spider-Man is, the most popular superhero in the world, Spider-Man. But here's where I start to have an issue. Okay, let's start with the X-Men. Now, I am not saying these cannot be good. But there's a thing of what I've seen the habits of Marvel, I could see it go down. And I'm wondering if Ultimates was like a test to see if people would buy the line. But Marvel's already pumping out like 70 to 80 books in a month. And for guys who swore they weren't going to keep doing events, I mean, we have the Ultimate End. And we have the thing where they're doing the origin boxes and they had to make a Black Wonder Man because, sure, because we got to match the stuff, even though you already had Simon, and that to me is weird. But one chick has Doctor Strange's powers, which is magic, which magic you can learn, but somehow she gets it. So I guess she gets bestowed with like his power of his skill set, or maybe just the powers that he like the access to the energy. That was my guess. Maybe she has all the access to the energy that's already unlocked, and it unlocks it in her. Whatever. I'm not even going to go through all that. Just the origin box thing is kind of was interesting to me, but it feels like they're just trying to make characters that match the movies. Anyway, you got Ultimate Ends, right? That's coming. Then, Spider-Man's Death Spiral thing, Avengers Armageddon, which I think that one leads into the other, or the Ultimate End leads into Armageddon. And while that's going on, you got the Queen of Black storyline, and then that's supposed to lead to DNX or something like that. Basically, I think Armageddon and the Queen of Black happened at the same time, but then I think one of the Armageddon leads because of the Death Spiral thing and all these like different events. They're like big event and mini event, and then DNX is with I think the Fantastic Four and stuff. And it's literally like they have a big event, but while they have the big event, they also have the mini event, because this one has Venom and Spider-Man, and this one has the X-Men and Fantastic Four, and this one has so Marvel's just pumping out events. Like there's literally like 4 or 5 events throughout this whole thing. They're all going to interconnect. I think that's a little ridiculous. Now, Benjamin Percy's done Punisher. I like his Punisher. He's done the Wolverine. I've read a little bit of that. Then you also got, Jonathan Hickman. I mean, he's Jonathan Hickman. Even whether you love him or hate him, like, who Jonathan Hickman is. And then you got Philip Kennedy Johnson. I really enjoyed his Superman World. That was good. Like, I like with Philip Kennedy Johnson, does. I think his Incredible Hulk run is pretty good. His Alien is pretty sweet. Yeah, he's just really good. And Benjamin Percy, like I know, like his Deadpool is definitely uh, interesting, to say the least. Here's where I have an issue. When it comes to X-Men, we're doing the vampires thing again. I mean, didn't we just have this whole vampire thing with Blood Hunt? It sounds like Blood Hunt. It sounds like if Blood Hunt didn't stop, and they also looked at DC vs. Vampires and went, oh, DC vs. Vampires is pretty good. People like the zombie one, but DC vs. Vampires are good, so let's just do DC vs. Vampires and do a little bit of Blood Hunt. So now you have the mutants who have had run-ins with Dracula and stuff, and it's like, okay, so you're going to have it where Dracula, and it looks like Nightcrawler is on the cover with the sword, and it's kind of like, is this what we're doing? All right. You know, you got vampires. We've done this before. And I kind of am looking like, could it be cool, you know, having the X-Men and them kind of go back and forth? Sure, but I feel like we've done this before. And I feel like it's Blood Hunt. Just what if Blood Hunt didn't end? And I can see it going that route. And Storm being a vampire, that was like the comic where she was with Dracula and Dracula turned her, and then you had the thing with Wolverine and the whole thing. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, Hickman does interesting stuff, but he does this like version of storytelling that I just don't know if it's going to work. And I was like, we gotta do the vampires again. Like I said, I'll put it to you like this. Everything I'm talking about, I'm going to be positive in the sense that I'm 70% sure that it should be cool, but not even 70%. We'll say I'm 50-50. I'm hopefully optimistic, but the way Marvel has been kind of running things, even I have to admit some of their stuff is kind of some of their stuff is good. I'm not one of those people who sit there and says everything Marvel does is bad, but some of their stuff is kind of And the fact that they purposefully think and that it's okay to antagonize the fans about Spider-Man and Mary Jane, and they're like, yeah, and we want you to be angry. Like that kind of mindset. When I hear the editors and stuff like Tom Revort and them say things like that, that puts me in a place of you're not respecting the people that get your money, give you money, and after a while they just will eventually become apathetic and just stop spending. So I mean, I've been liking a lot of comics lately. I've been actually buying not as much as I used to, but I've bought quite a few comics in the last few months, so I got to give them credit. But then there's other comics that are out there that I've been buying as well, like Street Sharks and stuff. But okay, that was like, all right. Now, when it comes to Fantastic Four, this is what I mean. I don't even know where my rating is. Like I said, maybe I'm 50-50, maybe I'm 70-40. I don't freaking know. I may be sounding like a little bit of a downer. I have a lot of doubts. So they're talking about the cosmic horror thing, right? And how they went into space and did this. What was the zombies when I recently got the new reset of Marvel Zombies that they did again after Black, White, and Blood. And they did another zombies. It was with the Fantastic Four. So, and it was this version was a cosmic horror that they brought back to Earth. And I'm just like, you know, can he pull it off? Sure. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm like, I feel like they're like, it's new and original. I'm like, actually, I feel like I've seen this before. I mean, with Benjamin Percy, like I said, I like his current run on things, so maybe he'll bring something to the table. They're saying that they're going to be mutated. I'm like, so are they monsters trying to affect Earth? Because if that's the case, that's literally your current that was that Fantastic Four when they did the Marvel Zombies, the last Marvel Zombies you did. So is that again? And then you have like Spider-Man. Now, we've had Spider-Man be a monster. There was even a what if one where he's a monster, but I'm like, are we going to make him the big grotesque forearm thing? Are we going to make him look like radioactive Spider-Man where he looks at this? Is he going to look non-human? And then he's going to go after other monsters. That to me, that one honestly sounds the most interesting just because now it's going to be a world with animal hybrids and I'm okay with that. Like, I think that's not a bad idea. I've seen it before, but it's not bad. And having Spider-Man going, all right, I'm going to have to go after these guys and stop them because they're going to hurt people. Because Spider-Man does have a lot of villains who have animal themes. That's what they did the whole totems thing. I mean, you have Dr. Octopus. You got like, you know, Rhino and stuff. But are we going to get like Electro? Is he going to become an electric eel like he was in the movie? He wasn't an eel, but he got, you know, powered by eels gave him his superpowers. Black Cat, is she going to be a thing now? So that part to me sounds a lot like the Absolute Universe kind of style thing, the most to me. Also, my other thing is, I know DC has positively or maybe possibly negatively affected the industry because everybody keeps saying they're trying to make their Absolute version now. You Ben 10, they're like, we went with the sensibility of the Ultimates and Absolute. Now, I haven't heard them mention Ultimates because people like Ultimates, but it's usually Absolute then Ultimates, and who else? Valiant is like, yeah, we're doing our own version or Absolute line. And I did see one of the things they did. So it's like one of those things where everybody's trying to do it. And I feel like they're going to go to horror angle. No problem with that. I think that's a great idea. But to me, wouldn't it be cooler if, let's say, when you come to the Fantastic Four, instead of them being, I feel like they're going to be kind of villainous. They're going to do the thing like with zombies. They may not, because they're like, he's obsessed and all this stuff, like Black Science and that comic. I'm like, maybe have it where they're possibly, I would do a story more like where they're exploring into the negative zone or other universes or even a possibly light universe thing. And they may have found like a monster, like the mini angled ones or something, but a different version, and have it where they're trying to fight them. And maybe like, and kind of do a reimagining on them, even their powers, like have Johnny maybe do a flamethrower thing instead of being a fire guy, because I feel like they're just going to turn him all into monsters. Then maybe you could still make him the monster, maybe Sue or something, but maybe they use tech more, they use something a little different or something that reminds you of the Fantastic Four, but not exactly the Fantastic Four. And maybe like when they did the Challenges of the Fantastic, when they had their crossover, something similar to that where they're more tech, or maybe a mixture of their powers and their tech, and have it where they're trying to stop this evil from coming forth or anything like that. And how are they going to deal with this? And actually you find out that the entity in this particular universe that's this Lovecraftian monster is a version of Galactus, but he like absorbs life. He's like an anti-life situation kind of thing. But I don't know. Maybe that's how I would go about it. When it comes to the X-Men, I'm like, the thing is, they already did a thing with them even being the witch breed back in 1602. Like, I could see the vampires thing being worked on and actually working, but then it's like, well, if are mutants becoming vampires? Because then it's like, well, wouldn't it be more interesting if maybe you had like one society like the Inhumans versus them, or if you're going to go to horror angle, if you are going to do the vampires to do something. But and again, the vampires can work. It is a good staple. But then it's like, okay, you're not going to have Blade, or are you going to have Blade? Like, you know what I'm saying? It gets to the thing of how are you going to differentiate this from Blood Hunt? Now, they could totally do it. I'm not saying they can't. And Spider-Man sounds the best. Like, it sounds very original with some familiar things I've seen before, but I like the idea of him being a monster and he's trying to be the good monster, kind of like Hulk, but going after other monsters and other hybrids and something like that. But I'm kind of hoping it'll just make him like the real, like man spider running around. That like I want to see a unique design that seems iconic. Like honestly, no matter if people want to make a joke, shit on or not, Absolute Batman looks iconic. Superman looks iconic. These looks actually stand out to the point where other comics, even Dungeon Crawler Carl did a thing to Absolute. There's a look to it. There's a manga feel. That's probably why, but I don't know. I know I've been rambling, but with this event, that's how I see it. I feel like I hate to say it this way. It feels like more of the same, honestly. Outside of like Spider-Man's ones has more, I would say, okay, so for each one, I'll do it like this. Spider-Man, I'm like 80-20. I feel like this is a thing that they could really go. It's really easy to kind of get away, especially you make them like a young Peter. You can kind of take inspiration from like Ben 10, Generator Rex, things like that. M-Rex, RIP. When it comes to Fantastic Four, that one, honestly, I'm like, ugh, 70% on the possibly negative side, because it really sounds like the zombie one again. And, but it could be good. And when it comes to the X-Men, I'm about 50-50. I like them when they mix with vampires. There's a lot of interesting stories there, but it's like, maybe, you could also maybe say 60-40. We'll say 60-40. But you guys tell me what you think. Those are my thoughts on it. I would have kind of went with a couple of different things. Spider-Man, yeah, but maybe a couple other obscure things. Kind of did some stuff, but that's just me. I would have done maybe Fantastic Four, but maybe not do the X-Men. Because we're kind of, at least not right away. But I don't know. Keep protecting you, stay safe, you stay healthy, stay real. And I'll see you.